Okay, background is too right, but I don't have any choice because it's about to rain. I felt like some burning sensations in my heart, and my mind is not peaceful. So I tried to meditate, but I couldn't. So I thought this is a good real life example to me to share with you that how can one deal with these kind of burning sensations, and how can we extinguish this fire. This is what I am going to talk about. Okay, so like I had, like I still have those sensations behind this calm appearance, but I feel those sensations. So what are those? First, what are those? Second, how to extinguish those, how to remove those, and take back your mind to your control. Okay, first, I'm burning because I have some lust. The reason is I have a girlfriend, and it's some long distance relationship, and I'm going to meet her in near future, like within, I think, a week or something. I will meet her. So now I have this sensation of lust, and it's like burning. Before, it has some pleasure, but not as much as I had before I meditated, before I start meditating. Now it's different because this last sensation, the sensations that are coming from the lust is, yes, it's highly bonding, but there is some kind of burning sensation there, like anger. When you are angry and when you want to hit someone or something, yeah, you don't realize you are burning, but you are burning. Have you realized that? When you are in angry, you are burning inside. When you are in fear or when you are in sad, you are burning inside. When you are in an insecurity, you are burning inside. Like same way, the lust is also, when we are in lust, we are burning inside. Like I'm a Buddhist, and Buddha said, not Buddha, his Like he is called Venerable Sariputta. He is, I mean, not senior, but his first disciple, Venerable Sariputta. First mean his his disciple with who had most wisdom, Venerable Sariputta. He has said like, yes, Buddhism is some real culture, man. Like I love that Buddhism. He has said that lust is a fire, anger is a fire, like that. Now I'm feeling that, and I'm feeling how peaceful if someone can be without lust and without anger, without fearfulness. I feel the peace in my heart, but lust in my body. Can you relate to me? Lust is. Now I'm okay. Yeah, I wanted to do this video because I realized something I read with some saying of Buddha. Once he said, have you, if there is some huge fire, if you don't feed it with like timber or dried grass or like dried cow shit, you know, cow waste, which was used, still using, which is still used in Indian household to lit their like cookers. I mean, how can, what is the word for manual cooker, like not gas cooker, like their fuel is to that manual cookers. Furnace is it the word? I don't know. Furnace is, I think, large burner. Household, you know, household, some small furnaces which they cook their meal and everything. They use dried cow waste. So Buddha was in India, then he used those practical example because this is how he explained something to some man in India. I don't remember to whom Buddha said this, but Buddha has said this. How to extinguish a large fire? Buddha said, if you don't feed that with new material, it will be extinguished over time. But if you feed it even little by little, it will not be extinguished like that. Okay. So now this is good, man. Like doing this video, even if anyone is not watching this videos, but at the end of the day, my mind is so relaxed after doing a video like this because I am exploring my mind, and talking is some good thing. to find what's going on in you, in your mind. Yes, talking is some really good thing. So I realized like I'm messaging to her, and like that I did things that amplifies my fire inside me. Then my fire kept growing. Then it's so pronounced. It had some momentum, and it's so difficult me to detach from that fire. I know it's not good for me to anything, but I'm a human being, so I have some biological and those factors which cause this fire to be kept growing, not reducing. So keep growing, isn't it? I'm learning, man. Okay. I don't know. I'm so curious. Why are you watching this video? I'm really curious. If you are watching this video until now, please leave a comment why you are watching this video. I can't think. Is there any value in this video to you? Will I give you? I don't know. I just realized a good title, how to extinguish a fire inside you. It's the title. Then I thought, yes, I should do this video because I'm in I'm experiencing some fire inside me now. Then I will talk about that. Okay. So there are practical ways to distinguish or extinguish. I don't know, extinguish. I think yes. Fire extinguisher, isn't it? Extinguish fire inside someone. Okay. First fire is lust, wanting things like desire and like those things. It feels like you like them, that's why you have so much thoughts on them and things, but your mind is not peaceful. Peace is which I value the most. Peace. So if we are not in a peace, it means you are on a wrong path according to me and according to you. It's the case even if you don't believe that or not. So okay, I am having some call. Okay. smooth. I bought what is happening? I bought a new battery for my GoPro, so I'm now recording with my GoPro. I have some old version of like GoPro Hero 7 Black. Okay, I'm in my room now. So it's so beautiful, man. I will show. Okay. And bulbs here. There are two bulbs. Okay, we were talking about how to extinguish the fire inside that. Yeah, I remember the topic. However, now I has no fire. I extinguished my internal fire. But when I started this video, I had some burning sensations inside me. So what happened and what I did to extinguish those fires, and how can I apply those things better in future. That's what I'm going to talk about. This is not some life lesson or something. This is me realizing about my life, about the way mind works, about how should I prepare for if there is some next situation like this, how should I prepare like that. So okay, English is I feel it's my ideas are not flowing because this is some secondary language to me, that's why. But over time it will improve. So I don't know, man. I'm very happy when I'm doing these videos. I have another channel also. It's with my tongue. You mean this mouth tongue? I mean mother language. When I'm doing videos in there, I also happy. I feel so natural, man, now. Because like I had two batteries to my GoPro and both are slow one. I mean like slow one, you know, is it the word? I think so. Both are some kind of slow one because of, I don't know, overuse, lack of quality, or there might be another so much more reasons, but slow one. Then I realized because my GoPro is heating when I'm recording. So I asked from Gemini. Gemini means AI. With Google I use a lot too. Okay. Then I asked with Gemini, from Gemini, what happened, and he said when you enter the slow one battery into the GoPro, the internal component of the GoPro is slow one. Sorry, compact. Like applying some external pressure to those components, those small ICs inside of the GoPro. It's like I have this feeling like if I don't wear some rubber sleepers, so something, there is a chance that I'm exposed to some lightning, that feeling. I don't know whether it's valid or not, but I have that feeling because I was taught like that. So I stopped recording with my GoPro because Gemini said when I'm recording, my GoPro is heating up because battery is larger than its normal size. Because GoPro is heating, battery is getting larger because there is heat, and because the battery is getting larger, GoPro components are getting more compact, more pressurized. Then the heating will be increased. Then battery getting larger more rapidly, like that, and that process and that process will continue back and forth, and in one instant my GoPro will be caught on fire. He said that. So I have only this to record. So I stopped recording, and I thought I had no money to purchase batteries. So I thought, okay, at that time I was in Anuradhapura. Anuradhapura means there is some sacred city in Sri Lanka. Its name is Anuradhapura. Me as a meditator, it's like so energetic to meditate. Like it's so easy to meditate there. That's why I was there at that time. I rented a place, like it's like $25, like maximum $30 per month, and I survived. But my financial situation was not good because I couldn't survive anymore. If I have to survive there, I have to have a job, but I don't do a job because this is my life. I was born to attain Nibbana, and I'm dedicating my life to that. That is it. I don't do jobs. If my belief is I will be taken care of by universe. When I go along this path, I will be taken care of. That belief is here with me. It's very beautiful. Excuse me. It's so relaxing when I'm doing these videos. I like this is something that I really enjoy. meditation is sometimes fun, but sometimes it's not fun. It's chaotic. But this is, I really like this. So relaxed now because first thing, so I came home, but I kept that place there, and I'm still paying the monthly rent because I'm going there in near future somehow. I don't have any money or something to afford that and live there with spending to my foods and everything. Because of now I'm in my parents' home, there is no expenditure. Like I eat from them like that. In Sri Lanka, this culture is so, this is so suitable for someone who wants to be some greater one. Like, when we are going to the society, we are pushed to earn money without thinking anything. Get a job, then earn money, work hard, earn money as much as you can by working hard, like that. But so people don't have any opportunity to step aside and look at the life, like what is going on, am I doing this, like will this work, like is this the path to my dream life, or like is there any opportunities better than this thing, like that. People don't have time to even look at that. They don't allocate their time to even look at that thing with some like outer perspective. Therefore, one reason is they are pushed to work hard and earn money as much as they can by working hard. And the other reason is they have that scarcity. If I'm not working hard and if I'm not doing this job and if I quit this job, I might have to stay hungry. I might not be able to afford my place, or I might be a orphan like one. They have that feeling in so many countries, but here in Sri Lanka, we are always welcome to our parents' home. Like even now, my grandmother is about to be 80 and my father is he's 63, or 63, I think, yes. And even now, my father can go to my grandmother's and live there, like that. Sri Lankan parents are very, Sri Lankan culture is very different. That's why I'm now about to be 28, and I'm slowly building my future, because I realize this thing, like I have been pushed by the society, but if I'm going that direction without thinking anything, that is not my life, because it's like animals also live better than me. I was an engineer back then. I realized animals also live better than me, and there are afterlives. It's a fact. I have seen those things. When I'm meditating, I have seen my previous lives. It means I will have some afterlife. The like concept of Nibbana means you will stop that cycle, and you will be you will identify why you will be identified you I mean you will identify yourself as not body mind but something else, which was Nibbana. We are calling that attaining Nibbana. Like it's there, but we don't realize that. The process of realizing who we really are, it's called Vipassana. In simple sense, it's simply what Buddhism is. The process of realizing who we really are. That is Buddhism. How do we do that? Buddha said Buddhism is don't do any bad things. Do good things. And purify your mind. That is Buddhism. When Buddha is about to be dead, he said that. That is Buddhism. Don't do any bad thing. Do good things. Purify your mind. Like that. So, I'm in the process that I'm purifying my mind. I dedicated my life to it. That's it. So, I am very satisfied with my life. Now, I don't have the financial flexibility, but I will have that in near future. But I realized, like when I was an engineer, I realized, okay, if I die now, I will be not born in a good place, because my mind is so busy. I have no peace. I don't have anything. So I will definitely be born in some bad place. I mean, will not be in a hell. I didn't do that kind of bad things, but will be like some this birth which I have is some greater one, because I have everything I need without doing anything from the day I was born. Okay, but there are how many people out there who doesn't have enough food from they are born. See, if I die, I realized if I die like that, with this busy mind, with this thoughts processes, with this urge to earn money, with this dissatisfaction, I will be definitely born in some not good place, some bad place. So I can't waste this human life, because Buddha said four things are very, 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 very rare. Which were, which are human life, having a human life is something very rare. Buddha said that, okay? Having a human life is something so rare. Second, a birth, I mean, how can we say? We say like someone attaining their, like we called it, okay, I will simply put it like this. If someone attain Nibbana, they can do it in three ways. One way is, there is people called Arahat, which means you will know how to attain Nibbana from someone else. Then you attain Nibbana. And they are called Arahants. And they say another category of human who attaining Nibbana is Pacceka Buddha, silent Buddhas. They don't know how to attain enlightenment, but they figure it out on their own how to attaining Nibbana. Then they attain Nibbana, but after attaining Nibbana, they can't teach others that how should they attain Nibbana. It's so controversial, but that is there. That is some saying. And third one is Samma Sambuddha. The greatest human among humans, among history of humans, among history of beings, the greatest being. He is superior than any god, any Brahmas, any alien, he's the one, like in Matrix, he's like not Neo, like Neo is so cheaper than him. He's the one. Samma Sambuddha. He's my hero. Okay? We called him Samma Sambuddha. And if Samma Sambuddha, if someone attaining, if someone become a Samma Sambuddha, it's so rare. It's so rare. There is one, being born as a human, someone attaining Samma Sambuddha. And third one is we call it Shana Sampatti. Shana Sampatti means realizing once. It's not a solid realization, but you have to realize realizing once, like a glimpse who you really are. Then you back to body mind, but you realized once who you really are. When you realized once for a fraction of a second even, over time it will take lifetimes, but over time it's called Shana Sampatti. Over time you will attain full enlightenment. You will attain Nibbana after you having Shana Sampatti. Okay? It's the third one. Shana Sampatti means realizing for the first time who you really are. That's Shana Sampatti. Fourth one is ordain. Ordain means become a monk under Buddhism. Become a Buddhist monk who dedicated their life to attain Nibbana. Become someone who dedicated to attain, not like me, become a monk means, have you seen monks like wearing robes like that? Like that. Thank you for listening this long. I love you, okay? The characteristics of you, I mean real you, there is peace, unconditional peace. And another characteristic is there is love, unconditional love. It's like, I love you, I love this camera also. They also feel like so living beings. I'm not taking any kind of drug, but this is the realism. This is the realistic view. Okay? But this feels like some kind of drug experiences also. Yeah, I relate to that. What happens when we take drugs, some kind of drugs, is our mind becomes so silent when we take that drug after having the effects of that drug. Then what happened is, how can I say that? Then what happened is it? then what happens? Yeah, it's good. Then what happens? The like I will put this in a simple way. There is something called real you. It's not a body and mind. This is a body, and you know you have a body and you have a mind. I have a body and I have a mind, like that. But what identify you as a body mind is your thoughts, not you. Your thoughts are but you have to look at this very carefully. We have a conscious mind and we have a subconscious mind. I'm talking about the thoughts in subconscious mind, okay? So, which we don't really see. Like, I told you when I see the lightnings, and if I'm not wearing anything to my, like if I'm on my barefoot, I feel some like scarcity. I know in my conscious mind, in my rational mind, dogs also don't wear anything, but they don't hit by lightnings. But my rational mind, no, I'm safe. But I have this fearfulness. Why? Because I was taught when there is lightnings, you have to wear sleepers or something, otherwise you will be caught, you will be electrified by a lightning. And that thought is in my subconscious, and when those both experiences happen, when lightnings comes and when I see I'm not wearing any sleepers or anything, my subconscious thought, which might be you will be killed, you will be die by hitting a lightning stroke, you will die by hitting lightning stroke because you don't wear sleepers, like that thought. That is in my subconscious. I don't really see that, but what I feel is the fearfulness. Like this subconscious is controlling us. Do you see that? But most people do is what most people think that how to control their mind is when some thought comes or when some feeling comes, they counterattack it with another feeling, or they react to that and nullify that feeling, like that. But when I analyze the lives of people who attain enlightenment, they don't have any fearfulness. It's so like, I have a teacher who is highly deeply awakened. Okay? Back then I was some serious fighter. I have done Muay Thai, wrestling and boxing, and I had some brave mindset, like no one can hit me, I'm a good fighter, like mindset. But one day, my teacher blamed someone in front of me because we broke some rules in a retreat. That moment, I felt I'm brave because I'm constantly counterattacked my thoughts about my fear. Fearfulness, like if I think someone is going to attack me, I counterattack with my thoughts. Okay, if he attack me, I also can attack, and it seems like I'm stronger than him and I know better techniques than him, so I can. It's like a complicated process. But what I felt from my teacher was he doesn't have the fear. He is brave because he doesn't have the fear. I'm brave because I can counterattack to my fearfulness with my evidences in my previous life experiences. I can counterattack. That's how I define what bravery is. But that occasion I felt like, yo, this is not bravery. This take lot of works. That is the bravery. Which was you don't have any fearfulness. You don't have any like that. Then I like, yeah, you see, like when you think like mm, you are in some kind of hot country. I mean, like Sri Lanka is some kind of, it's near to how we call the middle line, the middle line which divide the world, the earth, the upper part and lower part. How is it called in English? How can I call it? I don't know. If we can talk, you will tell me. I don't know. Is it horizon? No. I don't know really what is the word for it. So, but you understood this. So, it is called the countries near that line are some kind of warmer than other countries, which is which has some distance from that line. So if you go to some that kind of a place, there are snakes, because in hot places there are snakes. So think like this. You have to go somewhere on foot without, but you don't have any slippers or something, and you know there is a potential at night, and you don't have any torch or something, but you can barely see the road, and you know there is a potential to be a snake there, and because of you don't wear because of you don't have some footwear, you are now scared to death like that. I have this feeling, okay, because I have this experience. But you have to walk. No option here. It's getting late. So think you have, now you understand, like you will have that fearfulness in you, but you can do two things in that occasion. This is like this is not tactical thinking. Let's consider these assumptions as like these are assumptions, okay? If someone, okay, think like this. Now you are in a doubt, you have so much thought in your mind and you feel the fullness. Then someone is giving you some good footwear, like a boot or something, then and a torch, then your fear will be gone, because now you are sure no snakes can attack you now, like that. It's one thing. It's one approach to distinguish your fearfulness. Another one is someone is telling you, don't worry, like there are snakes, there are no snakes at night, because snakes go to their homes or something, their holes at night. So you don't have to worry, because there are no snakes at night. He confirmed it, and you ask from something, is that true? You can't believe, and you ask someone. Think you go to another country which is new to you, you don't know anything, and you think there might be snakes at night because you saw snakes in the afternoon, in the day. Then you ask from 2-3 people and they all confirm there are no snakes at night. Then your fearfulness is gone. Why? First one is, these both approaches helped you to like help you to seduce your thoughts in subconscious. There is conscious thought mind, there is a subconscious mind, and there almost everyone have this thought in their subconscious. Snakes are deadly in subconscious. Okay, so these both solutions give your subconscious to be relaxed, because yes, snakes are deadly, but you are not exposed to snakes now. Therefore, your rapidity of the thought in subconscious, which was snakes are deadly, become less frequent. But that is still there. Okay. Then when you are when after wearing the boots, you are going to your stay, and someone says there are snakes, a lot of snakes. Someone can penetrate your boot also, and they are so deadly. Then your subconscious thought is, he might be a liar. But you don't know. You trust him. Even you think he is a liar. You are not like, you are not the same person as you. I mean, how can I put this together? Speaking an unknown language is somewhat so difficult, because I'm not pre-planned this. Even if you think he is lying, he lied. You can't be, you are not the same person as you are not the same person after hearing that. Yeah. I will look these videos after 10-15 years. I will be proud of myself, because I'm keep trying. I didn't give up. I kept going. I wanted to change you. I wanted to give you some life-changing contents, but language was the only issue, and I'm trying to put that issue aside and however convey my message to you. So I'm grateful about myself, actually speaking. Have you seen my bed? Are you so? I prepare my bed every day. This is, did you see? I think so. Okay. Now so free because I have my own device to record now again. No, I will finish that story first. Okay. It's like, after you hearing there are no snakes at night, and then you go, then you see some snake in the darkness. It might be a rare case, but you are now so afraid. You are now in so much more fear, because now you are lost. You can't go back because that road also might be snakes, and you are stuck now like that. You see, those both solutions are so permanent, so temporary. But if someone with some technique or something drag your subconscious thought out and throw it away, which was snakes are dangerous, now those anything can't affect you. Why? You don't have that thought in you. Have you seen some people love snakes? Have you seen those? They don't have that thought. They are dealing with like most venomous snakes in the world with their bare hands. They don't afraid because they don't have that thought. Some have, like snakes are some beautiful innocent creatures. Once I listened to a Joe Rogan podcast, and one said if some king cobra in this room, he will not be attacked to you by any means. He will go to a corner and he will stay there. They are not harmful creatures. He said this, okay? This is not me building up another story. Someone said this, I have seen that. I saw that in a clip. So there is a chance it might be the real case about snakes. But we have a thought in our subconscious which like make us react in a fearful way. Do you realize this? So we call it in Buddhism like straight your mind. How? And I recently read something, and that monk who wasn't attained, who haven't attained, who had not attained Nibbana at that time, saw some like workers who is building a canal, like water flowing canal, and he said water doesn't have any liveliness, but people make the water go where they want to go, where they want water to go. And again he is going with his bowl, because at that time monks were begging food, like not speaking and begging. They are going to villages with their bowl and people give them food like that. So again that monk saw people with techniques straight the curved wood. Did you get my point? Curved wood. Curved would be if you take some branch of a tree and if it is curved, you can't really use that for any valuable things, but if it's straight, you can use that. So like that thing, I don't know how they did that, but he have he saw that and he thought these people do what they want with these unlive things also. Why can't I straight my mind? Then he did very hard meditations. Hard means he encouraged by that. Then he attained full enlightenment, which is some great attainment. Full enlightenment. We call it Nibbana. Arahathood. Respect to that monk, man. Those are my heroes, okay? So now we can go somewhere else. I will take some small rest, okay? And we'll come back. This battery is very good because my original GoPro battery also this brand called Telecine. This brand is called Telecine. And my original GoPro battery also I can't record more than 1 hour, but this recording now almost 1 hour and still 1/3 of battery left. So it's good. Life is going to be good, man. Thank you for listening. I will continue this, okay? Today. Okay. It's Today is 2 days after when I post recording this video. It means the few seconds ago you watched something I told 2-3 days before, and I don't remember where I stopped our conversation, and lot of things happened. I posted a video for the president of Sri Lanka, and after that day was the Vesak Poya day, which means the Buddha himself attained Nibbana. On that very day, then I did a video about Buddha and how I'm thinking about his attainment and everything. It was like nearly 7 hours long. Then yesterday I didn't do anything. Then today is Sunday. That means I'm planning to take a leave on Sunday. I mean, I'm not working on any jobs, but I thought like I have to take some days off to be reset, to have a reset. But in some place at the very back of my mind, there was this video like a pin in my foot, because I did this halfway through, then it stopped. It so irritated, I mean annoyed me. Then I wanted to finish this video, but if you look, I don't know whether you watched this video or not, because when you see this point, probably you are watching this video this whole time. So I don't want to break this suddenly, but I will make this quick. Okay, so the title of this video was how to extinguish the internal fire inside us. So okay, no, sorry for the thing I said before, because my mind was so busy, like I'm not relaxed. Then after I told those things, I'm now relaxed, so I can convey my ideas better. And also you have to realize that being busy is a category of fire all itself. There are 5 categories of fire according to Buddhism. Okay, this is not a Buddhist class or something. So if you are an atheist, or if you are Christian or Muslim or something, I respect everything, but these things apply for all of us. So whether it's Buddhism or Muslim, Islam or Christian or Sikh or I don't know, whatever you call me, but we have to master ourselves. That's the end point, doesn't it? So according to Buddhism, Buddha describes 5 categories of fires. First category of fire is wanting things. It's a fire. Do you remember, like when we are very small, when we go somewhere with our mother or father, and when we see something, we want it. we have no control over. Or when we, like, you realize these people have these things. For someone it might be a car. For someone it might be a woman. For someone it might be his own body. Whatever it is, there is a category of a fire which is called wanting things. Wanting things. It might be lust, it might be woman, it might be like wanting things. Like attaching to things. It is a kind of fire. Basically, it's lust about woman, or lust about men if you are a woman. So how to so also, like, there are type A fires, type B fires, type C fires, like metal fires. There are categories of fire. I mean real fire. In real life fire. So, and the methods are different. Extinguishing methods are different among those categories. I mean, yeah, extinguishing methods are different among those categories. So, like, if there is some type A fire, we can apply water. But I mean, type A fire is like the burning material is some solid things like rocks. Not rocks, rocks aren't burning, but like wood, clothes, like solid things. And we can apply water, then fire will be extinguished. But type B fire is like, I know these things because I did some pre-military trainings when I was in school. So they taught us these things about fires and everything. And type B fire is a liquid fire. So, like oil fire, like that. So, if you apply some water when oil is burning, it will amplify the fire because oil will spread more quickly than before. So we apply foam when there is a type B fire, which is an oil fire or liquid fire. Foam will float on the surface of the oil and will prevent the oxidization of that liquid, that oil. Then when you prevent oxygen, there is no fire. When we apply water, what happens is we prevent the minimal heat required. Then fire is vanishing. This is not a fire glass, but I wanted to tell you, like, there are different methods of extinguishing fire for different fire categories. Likewise, the internal fire, the thing about the extinguishing methods of internal fires are also different among categories. Okay, the first category is lust. Okay, how to extinguish, is that the word? Might be. I mean, I'm referring that to vanish the fire. I mean, completely quit from the fire, like that meaning. So Okay, 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 okay. Okay. I have to get my life back on the track, man. These days are so busy to me. Even though I'm not doing any job or anything, my mind is so busy because, yeah, I realize now I'm distracted with YouTube, I'm distracted with my girlfriend, and I'm distracted with all other minor things. So I'm so pissed now, man. I don't know. Okay, that pissing thing is also a fire. Let's talk about in practical. Okay, when you have the lust, what you want to do is the practical way to me is previously when I had lust, I had some photo of the dead bodies which are like slowen, attacked by worms, so disgusting things. I look those things, then I imagine those things in the thing which caused lust to me. Then lust will be gone. It's a method directly taught Buddha to monks. There are 10 things how there are how we can watch I mean how we can perceive another person's body without when we have lust. One is we can imagine his body is full of worms eating him like that. Him or her. Other thing is we perceive her bones. Perceive means it's some kind of imagination, but we all are made up of bones, muscles, and everything. So the lust is coming when we see someone as a whole man. Do you get the point? It's like when we okay, think this, when we see something from a distant, some person, and we think, oh, she is very beautiful, she is so beautiful, like, and you are caught on lust, then you are going near her, then you saw he is a man, she is a man, but at a distance you saw he as a woman, like, then you don't have any lust or anything. Why? Your perception altered. Okay. And another thing, you see some woman very closely, she is very beautiful, and you say hi to her, and she say hi, and you see her teeth are full of tartar, and she doesn't like brush her teeth, then you get repelled. Why? You had now you have a bad perception about her. And the perfect way to repel something, I mean, not repel, but perfect way to see someone, according to Buddhism, without having any lust or anything, don't see that person as a whole. See that thing, and see about you yourself like something which made up of bones, muscles, cartilage and everything. When you think this way, it's like you are not seeking something as a whole. You don't have any lust about bones. You don't have any lust about muscle fibers, skin, like hair or something. You don't have any lust about those things. But when you take that as a whole, that perception create the lust inside your mind, which was fire. Then, how we extinguish this fire, in this case, this last case, we alter this perception. Our perception is, yes, this is a good thing. Then we alter this perception. How to alter that perception was, we don't seek that as a whole, we seek that as a couple of things combined together and form some form. That is one way. Another way, this is the most powerful perception in Buddhism, which is called anicca, which means the things which cause lust in your mind, those are make you unrelaxed. And it's so, those are, this is a broader perspective, but okay, I will tell, but if you don't get this, it's totally fine, okay? And second thing is, we have to be ashamed of. It is, third thing is, it is disgusted. Why we should be ashamed of? Because if we don't have the control over our mind, and if some external things can manipulate our mind, we should be ashamed of that thing. The fact that we can't control our own mind, we should be ashamed of. Third thing, we should be disgusted of those things. It's like poisoning ourselves, our mind, consuming external thing that make us even less powerful. Because when we consume all those external things, our mind gets so uncontrollable than ever before. Second thing, when you get angry or when you get feared, afraid, I don't know the word for it, afraid or fear, I will rewatch these videos and I will correct my language. Then I will speak better in future videos. But this video I want to make this over. without, because I'm not comfortable doing this, but I want this to be finished. Second thing, when you're angry, how to extinguish that fire. Okay, in Buddhism, this is the way I'm doing that. Okay, in the Buddhism, there are afterlives and there was previous lives. And Buddha say there is no one who wasn't your mother in previous life in this universe. That's how much lives you had previously. And Buddha himself, which is called superior, also doesn't even see the starting point of this birth and death cycle, which is called samsara. Buddha himself also doesn't see the starting point of that samsara. So so and Buddha said this: one mother has given milk for a one child more than the water in the ocean. That much lives we had with a single mother. Cats are fighting. I will. Hey! 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 Shoop, 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 shoop. Okay, finished that problem. Okay, it means like you have given me milk as a mother that much. I have given you milk as a mother also that much. Any given individual think the worst enemy of you, he or she also have given you milk that much. So, but these things are covered up by this birth and death cycle, and when we get a new birth, we doesn't remember the previous birth. That's it. So, can you hate someone if someone do anything, any bad to you, who have given that much of milk to you? To me personally, no. Therefore, I think, okay, this person did so bad things to me, but the good things he did to me is uncomparable. It's so much more than bad things. So I will ignore this. It's okay. Likewise, I don't rationalize and arguing like I also have given milk to him. I don't want that thing. I choose to stay one-sided. He has done a lot of help to me, and I am extinguishing my fire. Then I am relaxed. That's what I want. That's what you want. You want to get rid of your anger. That's it. You don't want justice, anything. If you are that kind of a person, these videos are not for you. I don't care about justice or anything. I only care about peace of my mind. So I'm distinguishing that fire like that. Third thing is, which is very important to understand, which is laziness and sleepiness. According to Buddhism, these are not natural things. Laziness and sleepiness are some kind of a fire. So we have to extinguish those fires. How to do that? First, like, I have a timetable and there is a time to go to bed. When that time came, I go to bed, and there is a time to wake up. When alarm hits, I wake up. Like that. People have to take some rest by sleeping. It's not what I'm saying. Sleepiness, when you don't want to sleep, sleepiness out of your sleep time. That is what I'm talking about. Okay? So, now I feel words are coming more naturally. So, getting better. It's good. It's very good. One day I will speak so fluently. I know that. As a fact, I know that. Okay. So, yeah. Then, how to prevent that sleepiness and laziness? You have to change your postures. Like when you are yes. There were 10 or 8 things, but I will tell you the things I remember. If you are sitting and you are sleepy or lazy, you have to walk like that. By the walking, still that is stick with you, you have to wash your face and do some more movement like that. If not, that is going away. You have to go to look at more brighter things like light or sky or things like that. And however you try, if that sleepiness was stick with you, you have to sleep by keeping some alarm or keeping some duration for sleep in mind. Then you have to wake up at that time. Then that is the final thing. That is how we get rid of laziness and sleepiness. Fourth thing is busyness of mind, which is like this. My mind is so busy, it's some kind of a fire. I'm not angry, I don't have any lust, I don't have any sleepiness or something, but my mind is so busy. It's some kind of fire. busyness plus, no, this is plus things are, these categories can be extinguished from a method, from one method. That's why they are in one category. They are not same, but busyness of mind. Second thing is thinking about wrong things you did in past and things you couldn't do in past, good things you couldn't do in past, thinking about those things you like. I will tell again, busyness plus thinking about the bad things you did in past and thinking about the good things you couldn't do in the past. This is a fire. How we extinguish that fire is we have to do some mindfulness practice. Then those thoughts will go away. Mindfulness practice means any meditation. If you are new to meditations, you can do breath meditation, or you can do some Kumbhak Pranayama meditation, or if you can do some Wim Hof breathing. Any meditation will work for those things. Okay? And fifth thing is, which is very unique to Buddhism, which is doubt. Now, we all have doubts. How to extinguish that fire? When you have a doubt, you have to critically analyze what is the thing. With any resource you have, any information resource you have to take time and you have to critically analyze, is my doubt partial or impartial? Is my doubt valid or not? If it's valid, it's not a doubt, it's a fact. If it is not valid, you don't even want to consider about it. So people have so much doubts in their mind, they don't know even they are true or not. Is that a fact, or is that some lie? People think my girlfriend is cheating. He is not paying me money. Like, they are not angry or anything, but they have doubt. Am I worth than this? Like, you have to critically analyze those things. There are, in my first video, I talk about how to alter our beliefs, how to analyze our beliefs. You are welcome to watch that. But my talking style is so bad there because that is my first video. Okay. And as a human, and as a human who want to attain so peaceful life, we have to constantly extinguishing these fires back and forth. We have to keep extinguishing these fires until our life get something so peaceful which don't have any fire naturally, like that. Until then, you have to apply these methods to your life, and like that. So thank you for watching. I will stop this video here now, and I will extinguish my internal fire now. My mind is so busy, man. And thank you so much. I'm worshipping you, and thank you so much for watching. It's an honor to me. It's a huge honor to me. And I will leave some link down below. If you like to donate me anything, any money like $1 or $2 or something, it will be very helpful for me. Please feel free to do that. If you are not doing that, it's also okay with me, because it's an honor you watched my video whole. Okay, thank you. Let's meet again. One day we will meet somewhere. I feel that. Okay, let's go. I'm going, okay? Thank you. Okay, final thing. Oh, I forget the most important detail here. There is a methods to extinguish fire, and some methods are effective than other methods. So I have a greatest teacher in the world. He's not famous, but I guaranteedly know, because I'm following him near about a year now, and my life was changed so rapidly. I wanted to attain enlightenment, but I didn't know how, and he taught me the most advanced relaxation methods I have never imagined doing on my own. Now I can do on my own, but he introduced those methods to me, which can't be done through internet or anything. It's so advanced, so it's an experience you have to take in your lifetime. It's so advanced. He have retreats once a month, 4-day retreats. If you are free, you can come Sri Lanka and join a retreat. It will be change your life. Links in the description, okay? And feel free to donate me also. Thank you for watching. I will go now. Bye. Love you.